Have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And of course, subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. Also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see on the thumbnail, the topic for tonight, why depression exists. So I'm going to explain to you what it is. I'm also going to share to you how to deal with it. Okay. We all, many of us at time to time have mental health issues, but sometimes we're hesitant to speak about it for fear of judgment. But before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. First of all, let me just state that currently here in New York, we're in the middle of a blizzard, and there are most likely, before it's all over, we're going to get at least 12 to 15 inches of snow. And actually, the mayor has put in a travel ban effective 9 o'clock tonight until 12 p.m. the next day, restricting vehicles throughout the highways only for essential vehicles due to the fact of the snow. So I would advise everyone, if you don't have to go out, don't. If you do have to go out, please be very careful. Please allow yourself extra time. Also, please check in on your elderly friends, okay? Make sure that they're okay and things of that nature. And if they need any assistance, whether it be to do errands or maybe shovel the snow for them, please do it for them. I mean, I'm sure they will definitely appreciate it. So, actually, I have a great deal to talk about before we get to the main topic. The next thing I want to talk about is, lately I've been talking about my my significant other. One thing among the things she does physical therapy, massages, and things of that nature. So, what I'm going to be doing from time to time on my social media, I'm going to try to promote her, to try to encourage people to take advantage of her services when they do decide to travel to the Dominican Republic, mainly Santiago. So, what I'm going to do is share my screen. Now, the announcement in Spanish, I'm just going to just wait and see until it appears. Okay, here we go.
Mira que vienes grande, más allá de lo que imagines. Lo que vienes grande, no lo entiendes. Aunque hoy no vea el sol, mi fe brilla como el cielo. Que Dios está en control. Lo que vienes
Okay. Well, my apologies. Okay, so basically, for those who just got it, I'm gonna air it again on tomorrow night's stream. Basically, what the commercial talking about is there are courses as far as how to get massages and things of that nature. So I would encourage anyone who's planning to go to the Dominican Republic and need to get a massage to take advantage of her services. And her name is Clara Medina. I will be announcing this ad on my lives this week, and also I'm putting it on my social media. Now, earlier today, on Alexander's live, we have open discussion where we discussed many things, and it was me, Roadrunner, and Alexander, and we had a relatively productive stream. Unfortunately, no offense to Roadrunner, he tends to get a little bit long-winded. Okay, perhaps that's because he feels passionate. So we was expressing his views, where towards the end of the stream, Prism came onto the live and basically disrupted the live and made accusations against me and Roadrunner, talking about things like she's sick and tired of hearing the same thing about religion, that she's sick and tired of hearing about judgment, that that homosexuality is bad, that fornication is bad, blah 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 blah, and spoken a lot about the spirit of the law and not the letter of the law. Okay. So I tried to explain to her that part of it, out of law, is when someone is pursuing a bad path or an erroneous path, you're going to try to correct. And in fact, there is a verse of scripture which I will share from you, which is in Ezekiel chapter 3, starting with verse 17. Which states the following, verse 17, Son of man, I made you a watchman over the house of Israel, and so you shall listen to the word of my mouth and shall announce it to them for me. If I said to you, impious man, you certainly die, but do not announce it to him, and do not speak that he may turn from his impious ways and live, then the same impious man will die from his iniquity, but I will attribute his blood in your hand. That talks about accountability. which is if you see someone making poor choices, if you see someone in an erroneous path, and particularly a path that will lead to destruction, if you do not try to, out of the spirit of love, try to warn this person, and that person dies in that sin, God is going to hold you accountable because you as a believer is supposed to warn people when they are in the wrong path. But let me just, this is what the text continues at verse 19. But if you announce to an impious man that he's not converted from his impiety and from his impious way, then he will die in his iniquity. But you have delivered your own soul. In other words, if you see someone pursuing an erroneous path, you try to warn the person, and that person does not listen to you, and that person dies in that sin, that person will pay for these consequences. However, God will not hold you responsible. And I think what prison fails to understand, and she said it by her own admission, she's not a Christian. So obviously she's not aware of the gospel. And for her to make judgments about me and Mother without even knowing the fact, not even listening to us, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes indeed. And I tried to explain it to her, and I was as patient as I can be. However, I had to drop down because I did not like the direction where it was going. And I felt if I was to continue, it would just continue to deteriorate. And I have too much respect for the host to do so. But affected immediately, prison is forever banned from this channel. I was previously warned about her by another YouTube creator, but I like to give people an opportunity to express themselves, and we can disagree. I have no problem with disagreement. My issue is this: when you already made your judgments without the facts, there's nothing to discuss. Just give me a moment. Sorry, and that's the whole thing. We can disagree. That's fine. But when you decide to make judgments without or pre-judge, it all had to do with Bad Bunny's performance in the Super Bowl. Okay. And the thing is this, and I have discussed this before. First of all, the accusations regarding his performance was already examined by FCC, and they have ruled that he did not violate any laws. Number one. Number two, all the obscene lyrics was removed from the performance. And even if you did not understand Spanish, you still were able to get the gist, which is pride in being an American citizen. And yes, we are American citizens, but we should not forsake our culture. And it was a celebration of Latino culture. That's what it was. And let me remind prison that there was a time that Black entertainers could not perform their songs because of segregation, because of discrimination. So I would suggest prison that before you open your mouth and speak foolishness, study the people that you wish to speak to before you do so. I, as a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, will pray for her soul. that she comes to repentance. And good evening, Femi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, I was just talking, wish of me, that's also fine. Okay. I do not control what other people say. I control my actions. And I don't like to say this. I don't like to talk about it, but it has to be a response. Okay. And going forward, prison, you're forever banned from this platform. Forever. And Femi, if you want to discuss it with me offline, I'll text you later. I'll explain to you the details. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to get to the main topic. And again, I just want to say my apologies. I usually don't spend any time reacting to people who act inappropriately. This time, this was case that has to be said and done. And I do pray for her soul. I do pray for her soul that whatever demons is happening in her life, that she receives healing. And yes, God is full of love, but also full of justice as well. And let me remind prison, I'm old enough to be her father. What happened to respecting your elders? But in any case, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic for tonight, they may do so. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. I know I've said this many times, but I will continue to say it. If I've never seen you before and I've never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash anything inappropriate, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down their strength. Once I determine that you're not going to do any of that type of behavior, I'll let you on. Now, why am I even discussing about depression? Okay. First of all, it's something that affects many of us. But the problem is some of us have a difficult time seeking mental health. Part of it has to do with culture, part of it has to do with belief. And one thing I noticed within my generation as a baby boomer, it could be hard for us to discuss issues regarding mental health. I'm just trying to find. Now, first of all, let me define what is depression. Overall, depression disorder or depression is a common mental health condition that can happen to anyone. It is characterized by a low mood or loss of pleasure or interest in activities for long periods of time. This is different from regular mood changes and feelings about everyday life. Now, there are many things that can trigger depression. Illness, loneliness, The loss of a romantic relationship, death, um, financial failure, or illness. Any one or any combination of these things can lead to depression. And let me just explain to you what are the causes of depression. Stressful moments, most people take time to come to terms with stressful events, such as bereavement or breakdown, now, which can cause depression. Personality, family history, pregnancy, or giving birth. In fact, one thing you notice that with some women, now I'm not going to claim to know everything, so I'm just giving you like a basic layman term. But some women after birth do experience depression or mood changes, menopause, loneliness, alcohol, drugs, and illness. Now, there are common signs of depression, and they are include the following: persistent sadness, loss of interest, fatigue, sleep problems, which can be either too much sleep or too little sleep, appetite changes, which can be result in a gaining weight or losing weight, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, irritability, slow movements of speech, unexplained physical pains, weightlessness, and recurrent thoughts of death and self deletion. The clinical term is suicide, but in this case, we're going to do self deletion. With these symptoms lasting most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 2 weeks. So that kind of gives you more of an explanation regarding depression, what can trigger it. Now, here are some key indicators of depression. The number one, depressed mood, feeling of sad, emptiness, hopeless, irritable most of the day, nearly every day. Now, there's a difference. There are days we might wake up and we might experience a bad day, but in this day, we're talking about multiple bad days. Loss of interest, diminished interest or pleasure in almost all activities, including hobbies, sex, or social activities. Number three, fatigue and lack of energy, feeling tired all the time, with even small tasks requiring significant effort. Number four, insomnia, trouble sleeping, or hypersomnia, sleeping too much. Number five, appetite, weight changes, significant weight loss or gain, or notable increase or decrease of appetite. Now, sometimes, and let me explain to you what that means. For those who gain a lot of weight, it's because they're eating, but not to take care of themselves. They're eating to try to release stress. Or ease pain. Or maybe they may not have the urge to eat. Number 6, difficulty in concentrating, trouble thinking, focusing, making decisions, or remembering things. Number 7, feeling of witnesses, guilt, intense self blame, fixating on past failures, or feeling like a burden. Now, let me just share with you one of the reasons why people choose to self delete is they see themselves as a burden. Okay, they see themselves as a burden, and they feel that if they delete themselves, they are relieving others of the burden they bring. Number 8, psychomotor changes, agitated, restlessness, or conversely, slow movement or speeds, psychomotor retardation. Number 9, irritability, increased frustration or anger even over minor issues, particularly in men. Number 10, physical complaints, unexplained headaches, digestive problems, or chronic aches and pains. Now, one thing I have said on multiple occasions, in order for a person to be sound completely, they need to be sound physically, they need to be sound mentally, they need to be sound emotionally and spiritually. If you're not well in one aspect, it's going to have an effect on the other three. And number 10 kind of confirms what I've been saying for quite some time. Number 11, social withdrawal, pulling away from friends, family, and social activities. And number 12, I'm going to use the term suicidal thoughts, recurring thoughts of death, self harm, or self deletion attempts. This requires immediate help. Now, when you get to that point, when you are constantly thinking about harming yourself, when you're thinking about taking your own life, you need immediate intervention. You need to speak with a physician. You need to speak with a therapist. If you recognize these signs in yourself or someone else, it's crucial to seek professional help that should interfere with daily life. Okay. So we're not just talking about being down, um, no, one day. What we're talking about, we're talking about mental health illness. That okay, will do, will do. Thank you. So now, one thing, and again, we have to make it. You know, it's hard for women to seek mental, you know, mental health resources because it's still frowned upon by society. It's even worse for men, particularly if you were brought up in my generation. Okay, and for those of you who are not familiar, I'm a baby boomer. So, and of course, we was taught to just suck it up. We were taught, um, you know, be tough, be stoic, men don't cry, okay? But the fact of the matter is, by holding it in, you make the situation worse, okay? Now I have discussed this on multiple occasions, but it's always good to discuss it because these topics need to be discussed because if left unattended, it can have major consequences. Now, the question is how to help a person that's dealing with depression. Okay, and I'm going to share with you how to do so. Number one, urge the person to stay with treatment, which means seeking a mental health expert, a therapist, a psychologist, or a psychologist. Okay, and this is the hardest part, to acknowledge that you need help, that you need to speak with a mental health professional. This is the hardest part. Part of it has to do with vanity. Part of it has to do with the belief that they can solve it on their own. Part of it has to do with shame that's been attached. Okay, there is no shame to acknowledge that you need help. Now, when you do speak with a mental health expert, you need to be honest regarding what you are experiencing. And I compare it as speaking with a physician. Okay, the physician is going to ask you questions. They're going to ask you regarding what are the physical symptoms that you are experiencing. You're going to be honest. You need to be honest with the physician, and based on the information that you provide, the physician is going to give you um, ways to deal with the symptoms, whether it be through medication, whether it be a change of diet, whether it be physical activity. Now, when it comes to seeking a therapist, um, the therapist's job will be to deal with the symptoms, okay, and or it may involve channeling your activity, or it may be involved giving you coping mechanisms to deal with the symptoms that you are going through. So the number one, urge the person to stay with treatment. Number two, be willing to listen. And when I mean listen, I mean listen, don't judge. Okay. Because truth be told, until you walk into that person's shoes, you really don't know what they are experiencing. And by you willing to listen, I mean, you also relay a message that person's important. Because at least there's someone that's willing to listen to you speak. Number three, give positive reinforcement. What okay, and the way I interpret that positive reinforcement is let the person know that while they may be hurt, they are important. They are important to themselves and they are important to God, particularly but important to themselves. Number four, offer help. And it could be in the form of, you know, you know, referring them to a therapist. It could be simply wanting to listen. It could be, if they need someone to speak with, to vent, let them do so. Number five, help make their lives less stressful. Okay. Maybe they just need a little bit of assistance. Maybe they need a little bit of assistance as far as doing some errands. Or maybe they just need some assistance regarding other things. Ask them how you can do to help make their lives easier, but not now. The difference is make life easier, but don't do everything for them. Okay. Number six, help help find helpful organizations. There are many organizations out there that help people to deal with people who suffer from depression. Here in New York City, we have NYC Health, where people can get mental health assistance, many cases free, depending on your situation. Also, many large organizations have what's called employee assistance programs where they can get counseling to help focus on their mental health issues. Number seven, urge them to take an active part in their faith if faith is a part of their life. Okay. Now if you're dealing with someone who identifies themselves as a Christian, one day to help them to take an active part of faith is to remind them of verses of scripture that talks about God's faithfulness, also talks about that God is present, also talks about that God is able to receive your burdens. But more importantly, let that person know that they're not alone. Let that person know that God is with them. Let that person know that there are people who love them, that care about them, that want only their best interests. And number eight, urge the person to take self care steps. Now, that could be make urge them to get a good night's sleep. Okay, because if you are well rested, you'll be more prepared to deal with with the responsibilities of the day and the tasks of the day. Make sure that they engage in a healthy diet, eating 3 square meals a day. It also means involved in some physical activity, something like taking a walk. Because our walk, even if it's a few minutes a day, it'll help clear the mind. Now, obviously, if you're in the middle of a snowstorm, I wouldn't do so. But when the weather permitting, take a walk. Take a walk. And sometimes you just have to step away from your desk for a few minutes. Particularly if you're dealing with a difficult client or you're dealing with a task that's very tedious, you do need to take a breather to gather your thoughts and to you know um, settle yourself. Okay, and And of course, by all means, do not try to take your own life. Do not. Okay. Which unfortunately, that's what happens if depression is left untreated. Again, I can appreciate the fact that for some people, it's very hard to admit that they have a problem. It could be very hard for people to admit that they need a mental health professional, particularly if you're the type of person that believes in doing everything by yourself, that you try to be self-reliant and things of that nature. But there are times that we all need help. There are times. And seeking help does not make you a weak person. Seeking help, what it does is that you love yourself to the extent that you're going to make a decision, as difficult it might be, to become proactive in getting yourself well mentally. That you're going to take the steps necessary by looking for a therapist, going to a therapist, um, being honest with the therapist, um, regarding the symptoms that you're going through, the condition that you're going through, the circumstances you're going through, and of course, as a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, prayer. Now, let me just state to those who do not embrace Christianity, I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to compel anyone to accept Christianity or my concept of Christianity. I'm just I'm just sharing with you what 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 is my take and how to deal with depression. Now, 3 times in my life, I have dealt with depression. Okay, um, the reasons are different. A couple of times it's because I was, laid off, and I was having financial difficulty, and I was having difficulty trying to secure employment, particularly since I'm the type of person that always worked. And of course, suffering from a broken heart because the woman that I love betrayed my trust, broke my heart. That brought me into a state of depression where, yes, um, I did thought about deleting myself, and I took the actions necessary. I went to a therapist, spoke with a therapist. I shared with the therapist the symptoms I was going through, and of course, I went to the Lord in prayer. And I took heart what's written in First Peter 5, chapter 5, verse 7. Place your cares on God, for He cares for you. So I placed in God's hands my burdens, my depression, my hurts, and my pain. And through God's mercy, I recovered. Because I could just as easily taken my own life, but I did not. I did not. And I'm here. Also, be mindful of who you choose to associate with, because there's certain people that will not, instead of trying to encourage you, will do the opposite, will try to discourage you. Okay. And it's during these moments like these, you find out who are your true friends are. Who are the people who really love you? Because when you're going through that difficult time, when you're going through that state of depression, when you're going through the anguish, it is when you find out who really cares about you. People can say they care about you when everything is going well and wonderful, when you are prospering. It's when you're going through your trials, your tribulations. It's when you're going through your bouts of depression. It's when you're going through and having issues of low self esteem. It is when you are thinking that you are a burden. It is those moments when you see who really cares about you and who doesn't. And those who do not care about you, don't wish them any ill will, but just don't have anything to do with those people. Okay? And one thing we do have to bear in mind, and I have said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it, is that hurt people hurt people. Okay? And that what I mean is that when you are in that state, when you're wounded, where you're hurt, and the only way that you can get any gratification by tearing another person down, by being mean to another person, that means you are a hurt person yourself. And unfortunately, we have a lot of people that are going through a lot of issues. We have a lot of people that have trauma that have never been resolved because they never seen the need to seek a resolution. And the only way they can deal with it is by attacking others. So I would encourage all of you that if you are dealing with any of these symptoms regarding depression, love yourself enough to seek help. Love yourself enough to share with people who care about you the burdens that you're carrying. Care enough about yourself that if any of these symptoms, any of the conditions that I alluded to exist, get yourself a therapist. And this in no way, shape, or form means that you don't have faith as a Christian if you seek a therapist. Because when everything is said and done, the therapist receives his knowledge and wisdom from God. And it's the same thing with the physician. But Just remember, as a believer, you are not alone. God is ever present. And there are therapists that are more than capable to help you to deal with the symptoms of depression and give you strategies in order to cope. So, with that being said, if anyone wishes to hit the link and opine, they may do so. If not, then I'm going to call it a night. Okay. And yes, I have discussed these issues before, and I will continue to discuss mental health issues from time to time because this is an issue that's not going away. And particularly now with this current administration, with the fact that grocery prices have gone up, the fact that wages are stagnant, the fact that people are literally living paycheck to paycheck, that's going to create a great deal of stress. And that also going to create depression. So I will continue to share these topics from time to time, whenever it's necessary. And I'm just going to say a few words in Spanish. Por caso que está sufriendo de la depresión, hágase un favor para ti. Aman a sí mismo, para buscar consejo de personas que les ama, que le importan su salud. Buscan una terapista para ayudarle con su depresión, porque se vale la pena. Y sí, usted se encuentra, es una persona muy importante para ustedes y para Dios. So, with that being said, I will be live tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, speaking about unforgiveness, a Christian topic concept. Now, I'm going to keep saying this disclaimer, and I feel it's necessary. For those of you who are not Christian, I'm not asking you or insisting that you embrace Christianity or embrace Christianity as I understand it. What I'm doing is I'm just sharing what the Bible says when it comes on forgiveness. And the problem is people have a poor concept of what it is. First of all, forgiveness does not mean that what the person did was okay. It does not mean that you're going to restore full fellowship to the person. What that means is you're not going to let what that person did or said affect you. And you can forgive a person and not have anything to do with the person again. Okay? And there are people that be honest, there are people that you may have to deny access to you permanently. Not to punish, but because the nature of their conduct accepts that you have to love yourself to make sure that they don't cross boundaries. So I will be discussing unforgiveness tomorrow. Now, I want to reiterate that here in New York, we're undergoing a blizzard, okay? And there is not a ban, a restriction regarding traveling in the highways and the streets. Um, they have been restricted to only essential use, and that's so the Department of Sanitation can deal with cleaning this, with keeping keeping the streets and the highways passable for vehicular traffic. So if you don't have to travel, don't. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. I was just talking about why depression exists, and I was sharing the symptoms and how to deal with it. So I'm going to ask you to play from the beginning, from the um, regard, just to give you, this is just to bring you up to speed. Attacking me and another person and another life, and all I can say is that some people hate for whatever reason, and I had never said jack about the person before, but I cannot control. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. I noticed that for whatever reason you don't see me in the chat. You know what? I'm not even going to argue. You could this it is your life. You dictate what goes on over there. So be it. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Uh, I can't control what other people say about me. I control what's going to be my response. It's that simple. And if you don't like me, so be it. So be it. Oh, and before I go, let me just state that Irby has his own YouTube channel, so I'm going to ask that you show some love to him. Check out his content and subscribe. Okay? But when everything is said and done, hey, Georgia, thank you very much for stopping by. Yeah, you know what? I'm fine. I was just dealing with the topic of depression, but before then, I had to address another hater that came after me on another person's live, and I had to ban that person from the platform. Oh, cool. Maybe one day on my platform you can share with me some of the things that I experienced regarding your mission trip. Yep, that's true. That's true. And this person has the nerve to talk about God is God is love, but yet forgetting that God is also holy, and that getting on my case for trying to correct people who are on the wrong path. Excuse me. Um, Prison, you did not die on the cross for my sins. Jesus did. So when everything is said and done, I'm not accountable to you, I'm accountable to him. You don't like it? Goodbye. That's all I'm going to say on that. But in any case, please love yourself enough to get the help that you need. Georgia, I don't know. You want to hit the link quickly or briefly before I wrap this up? If not, I get it. But look, I realize that not everyone is going to enjoy my content. I realize that people, for some people, I am not their cup of tea. So be it. But in any case, getting back, we are in a blizzard situation in New York. So please be careful out there. Please, if you don't have to go out, don't. Please check up on on your elderly friends. Check, make sure that they have everything that they need. Also, if they need help, like have shoveling the snow and things of that nature, do it. Please be the good Samaritan and help them out. So, in any case, I'm gonna wrap this up, and of course, I'm gonna close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. And of course, everything we say and do, we should do to the glory of God. And with that being said, I like to wish all of you a blessed night. Take care, stay blessed, and peace.